One presence Murdo MacDonald-Bayne. The other day I was in the company of several people, all animated with a friendly spirit. There was perfect harmony until one said he was of a certain religious faith. Immediately there was a coldness and the spirit of happiness disappeared because of the struggle to conform to certain beliefs. This happy group of people were on the verge of breaking up when I stepped into the breach, and I want to tell you of this experience because it is a common occurrence with most people. I am sure this experience will help you also to help others to see beyond beliefs. For this is most important to us all in the sanctuary of the silent healing power. I spoke to them and explained that we were first of all human beings in whom the one life is the only reality and which we all depend upon for our existence, and if we would take a few minutes to think, we would see that beliefs were utterly false if they caused antagonisms and separation. If our beliefs divided us, then we could not live in that one presence of God inherent in each one and which was never antagonistic to itself in any individual. This was the only truth and there could be no other, and we must learn to think purely from the presence within, for in this presence there is no separation, no religions or differing cults or organizations, no nationality or anything else that separated one spiritual being from another. Now this is a tremendous truth and requires our earnest consideration. If we try to conform to a particular belief, there is a constant struggle, but there is no need to struggle to live. We live without struggle, but when we struggle to conform, we put life in a prison of our own making. Perhaps you grew up with your beliefs, but since then you never questioned them to see if they were true or not, and all your efforts were merely to adjust your actions to the dictates of another. You will see that this struggle, this effort to conform, to imitate, does not lead to understanding but makes you a hypocrite and insincere to yourself and others. Hence you do not know what you really think, what you really feel, because you never doubt the pattern you are trying to conform to. To think clearly, you must be free from prejudices, attachments, and the ideas of others. You know that God is love, wisdom, healing, and is omnipresent. You accept this is true, yet you will not discern that which is untrue, with the result that you perpetuate that which is false. If you will adhere to your divisions in nationality, in religion, and the differing creeds and cults, politics, etc., then you cannot think purely, for you will only think in accordance with your belief, which separates you, and this is utterly false, for the presence cannot be divided against itself. The presence is indescribable, and that which can be described is not the truth. But by becoming aware of the hindrances to your understanding, by discerning them, by confronting them, by penetrating them with pure thought, you will free yourself from them, and thereby realize the presence that is harmony, poise, love, understanding, wisdom, healing. Then you will become conscious of the falseness of all things that separate one from another. You will see these hindrances with their subtle variations that prevent you from living in the presence that is omnipresent and eternal. The present is immortality. There is neither past nor future in the presence, for the presence is always present, and to live in the present is reality. The past is but experience and the future but hope tinged with apprehension. The presence is the only life, the one and only reality which gives rise to the individuality, and the individual who realizes this gives expression to the ever-present presence which is all there is. This is infinity, and infinity must include all, as there is no outside it. The mind has a tendency to divide spirit from matter, but when we look deeper we see that matter separate from energy does not exist, and energy separate from intelligence cannot exist, and this intelligence is the spirit, which is not only the presence but is the omnipresence. It makes things by becoming the things it makes. So you see that all your hindrances are self-created through the illusion of separation, therefore they have no power except the power you give them. Therefore do not fight them, nor pacifically endure them, but become conscious that they are false. You become free by examining them, free from all attachments, free from all belief, free from all prejudices, free from all comparisons. If your mind is suffocated with these, there cannot be true understanding of the truth that sets you free. The presence requires no effort to express itself. It itself is pure action, and in this there is freedom in the individual who realizes it, and this is the Christ in you, the only begotten Son of God. I want you to realize that you are being used by the presence in giving to the world the invisible influence it needs by your realization of the presence in your moments of meditation. With the result that bundles of letters are coming in daily with grateful thanks for help received, even from those who have only recently heard of this work done by you all over the world through the sanctuary of the silent healing power, for the world is you multiplied millions of times. As you grasp this truth, you will realize it is the greatest thing that ever came into your life. When you look around you, you will see a world in ignorance, but that should not discourage you, for it cannot affect the final issue. The world, ignorant of the truth, becomes an arena of competitive systems of material and spiritual conflicts which create quarrels. In the material sense, there is the desire for security, and this leads to a means of piling up wealth and possessions which only bring sorrow and conflict, which lead to war between individuals and between nations. And in the spiritual sense, there is the desire for immortality, and this leads to the acquisition of virtue, which leads to antagonism and separation. Thus virtue becomes a vice. Man has separated the world into the material and the spiritual, but there is no separation anywhere. The one is but the expression of the other. The visible is but the expression of the invisible. What we see on the objective plane is but the result of the conscious manifestation of the infinite. Therefore every particle we see or feel is infinite. Man, made in the image and likeness of God, is given power to discern the true nature of God. By this understanding we are able to see that which is false and a hindrance to the true expression of God in man. The more this is realized, the greater is the awareness of God's manifestations. I want you to think, firstly, are you aware of the fact that you are conscious, and that this consciousness can be none other than the infinite consciousness individualized in you? For there can be no other consciousness, the infinite being all there is, and from this center of consciousness in you all thought and action must flow. I want you to think, secondly, are you aware of your thoughts? Or are you just reacting to things as they come to you? If you are just reacting, then you are controlled by your environment, but if you can discern your thinking, you can control your environment. You can become the active positive center around which everything must move. It is your duty to become this positive center not only to yourself but to God. Realize that the ether of space is the unparticled sea of divine mind and flows according to the direction given to it both by God and by you. It moves in the direction in which it is sent. This ether is the medium in which all things are created and through which all things are connected. It does not impair or retard the force you send into it, and it brings back to you precisely what you send forth. It transmits all mental currents from one to another, from angels to men and from men to angels. No wave or thought vibration can be impaired. Through the ether we can contact anyone, to heal or help those who ask. Through the ether we can contact spiritual forces in a fraction of a second, and their aid is given immediately. Jesus said, "I have only to ask and legions will come to mine aid." Now try to realize what I have given you. It is better than rare silver and the rarest of gold, for no treasure is like unto it. Reverence for the eternal trains man to be wise, and to be humble is the way to honor. Jesus says to us, in other words to his disciples, "As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another." Benediction. O Christ, thou rarest of hearts, thou didst sail on the stormy sea of prejudiced minds, yet thou shed the aroma of goodness and forgiveness, so helping all through example to become like thee. And now we know that our Father in heaven is the only Father of all. For thou didst say, "For whosoever does the will of the Father in heaven is my brother, my sister, and my mother," showing that there is but one presence in all. The mighty miracle of love is established in our hearts when we realize the magical words, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do. As much as ye do unto one of these, so do you unto me." O beloved one, wandering hearts are seeking the one-fold of thy divine love that heals all, and have heard thee ever calling with thy infinite kindness to be at home with thee in our Father's house of love, where we all rejoice together. There we shall know thee to be our brother, who showed us that love is the only way to everlasting happiness. Peace be with you. Yours sincerely, 𝗦 MacDonald-Bayne.